Hello everyone. I'm Yana from Susan's family. Today, I'm show you how to make the Revisiting the World series Essaouira patchwork blanket. For this electronic chart, you can search for en.sussudiy.com on the website to view it. This blanket consists of two motifs. First, complete the motifs individually, then join them together. Start with the Motif One. Start with a chain ring. Work in rounds counterclockwise. There are several stitches used. The chart has corresponding markings. I will go detail for each one. Let's get started. First, chain 3 as the chain ring. Next, crochet the first round. Chain 2 as the beginning chain for the half double crochet. These two chains count as one half double crochet. Crochet 7 half double crochets in the chain ring. Including the beginning chains. That makes 8 stitches in total. Pick up 2 strands of the second chain of the beginning chain. Crochet a slip stitch. The slip stitch doesn't count as a stitch. It needs to be pulled tight. Crochet a chain to secure. Cut the yarn. Pull tight. That completes the first round. We will consider the clearer texture side as the right side. The other side will be the wrong side. Move on to crochet the second round. Take the corresponding color. Make a slip knot. Slightly pull the loop tighter. Unless otherwise specified, the yarn tails should be 5-10 centimeters. Start from any stitch. Draw the loop through. Work 2 chains as a beginning chain. Chain 2 as a bridge. Work another half double crochet in the same position. Consider these stitches as one group. Pick up the stitches from last round and crochet 8 groups into them. At the beginning chain, work into the same position where you worked the slip stitch. Don't miss any adjacent stitches. Finally, at the beginning chain position, finish with a slip stitch. Fasten off the yarn. The second round is done. Continue with the third round. In this round, alternate crocheting with 2 colors of yarn. First, work a DC2 bobble. Insert into any chain space from the previous round. Chain 2 as a beginning chain. Treat these 2 chains as an unclosed double crochet. Work another unclosed double crochet in the same position. Yarn over once. Insert. Hook out. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. The unclosed double crochet is completed, including the beginning chain. That's a total of 2 stitches. Yarn over and draw through in once. A DC2 bobble stitch is done. Chain 3 as a bridge. In the same stitch, work a DC2 bobble stitch. Start with 2 unclosed double crochets. 1, 2, there are 3 loops on the hook. Take out another color of yarn. Pull the loops through. The second bobble stitch is done, and the color is also changed. Consider these stitches as one group. This round is worked in the chain spaces from the previous round. Continue crocheting the groups. While crocheting, wrap the other yarn along. Switch colors when working the second DC2 bobble stitch. Start with 2 unclosed double crochets. Hold the other yarn. Pull the yarn through. The second group is done. Finish the remaining part to finish the rest. For the last group, there's no need to switch colors. Slip stitch directly into the corresponding right side braid of the first stitch to finish. Also wrap the yarn tail below while slip stitch. Pull to tighten. Cut this yarn tail. Enlarge the loop. Pass the crocheted part through the loop. Pull to tighten. The yarn will be used in the next round, so don't cut it. The third round is completed. Now work round 4. Take out the other yarn. Start to crochet from the chain space on the right side of the yarn tail. Crochet a DC3 bobble. Chain 2 as beginning. Then crochet 2 unclosed double crochets. Yarn over and draw through all loops once. The DC3 bobble is completed. Chain 3 as a bridge. Then crochet another DC3 bobble. Start with 3 unclosed double crochets. Switch colors. Pull through once. Consider these stitches as a group. Work a DC2 bobble in the center between the two groups of the previous round. After completing 2 unclosed double crochets, switch colors. Pull through once. Continue working the second group in the chain space. Switch colors when crocheting the second DC3 bobble stitch. Then between the two groups of previous round, crochet a DC2 bobble. Finish all the way down. Finally, fasten off the yarn. Round 4 is completed. Move on to round 5. Work into the chain spaces from the previous round. Chain 2 as a beginning chain. Then chain 1 as a bridge. Work 4 half double crochets into the same space. Between each half double crochet, work a chain as a bridge. Consider these stitches as one group. Slip stitch into the adjacent DC2 bobble. Work into the back loop of the stitch. A stitch consists of these two strands. The strand closer to you is the front loop. The one away from you is the back loop. Please notice, an oval solid dot in the chart indicates a slip stitch that doesn't need to be tightened. A circular solid dot indicates a slip stitch that needs to be tightened. We won't repeat this later. This round is worked in the chain spaces with the groups. Then slip stitch into the back half of the DC2 bobble stitch from the previous round. Complete them on your own. After the last slip stitch, join with a slip stitch at the beginning chain. Tighten. Fasten off the yarn. Round 5 is completed. Continue with round 6. Work in the chain spaces of the previous round's groups. First, crochet 3 half double crochets. The beginning chain counts as 1 stitch. In the next adjacent chain space, continue with 3 half double crochets. Then 3 chains. In the next 2 adjacent chain spaces, crochet 3 half double crochets each. Pick up the back loop of the slip stitch from the previous round. Work 1 slip stitch. Complete them all the way down. Finish with a slip stitch. Fasten off the yarn. Round 6 is completed. Now work round 7, starting from any front loop of a slip stitch from round 5. Cast on. Two chains. Then chain 2 as a bridge. Work 1 half double crochet in the same position. Then chain 6. Work 2 half double crochets in the adjacent front loop. Chain 2 as a bridge between these two HDCS. Then complete with 6 chains. Continue working the rest in the same way. Finish with a slip stitch. Pull tight. For the next round, continue using this yarn. No need to cut the yarn. Round 7 is completed. Now work round 8. Chain 3 as beginning chain. Treat these 3 chains as 1 double crochet, then chain 1. In the left chain space, work a DC3 popcorn stitch. First work 3 double crochets. Insert the hook into the first double crochet stitch. Draw the loop through. Secure with a chain stitch. 1 DC3 popcorn stitch is completed. Continue with 1 chain. Work 1 double crochet in the adjacent half double crochet stitch. Then chain 5. Work corresponding stitches in the previous round's group position. 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 DC3 popcorn stitch, one chain, 1 double crochet, then chain 5 as a bridge. Work all the remaining stitches downward. Finish by making a slip stitch in the third braid of the beginning chain. Fasten off the yarn. Round 8 is completed. Next, work round 9. Pick up the front loop of round 4 to crochet. Draw the loop through. Chain 15. Then make a slip stitch in the adjacent front loop. Continue with 15 chains. Work all the remaining stitches downward. Please notice, don't make the chains too loose. Finish with a slip stitch at the beginning position. Fasten off the yarn. Round 9 is completed. Now work round 10. Before you start, adjust the patterns from round 7 and 8 to the back. Cast on from the popcorn stitch of round 8. Insert the hook into the chain above the popcorn stitch. Chain 3 as beginning chain. Work a double crochet in the adjacent space. Work a double crochet in the stitch position. Work 2 double crochets in the large chain space next to it. Then work a DC4 popcorn stitch. While crocheting, wrap the chains from round 6 and 9 together in. Insert the hook into the chain spaces of these 3 rounds. Crochet the DC4 popcorn stitch. After completing, work 2 double crochets in the chain space of the previous round. Continue working double crochets in the corresponding positions. After completing the corresponding number of double crochets, crochet the DC4 popcorn stitch. While crocheting, wrap the chains from round 7 and 9. Insert the hook into the chain spaces of the 3 rounds and crochet. Please notice, don't twist the chains from round 9. Continue to crochet the remaining part. And finally, fasten off the yarn. Round 10 is completed. Move on to round 11. Start from the middle double crochet between any 2 popcorn stitches in the previous round. Make 1 chain as the beginning chain for the single crochet. The beginning chain doesn't count as 1 stitch. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. Then, in the popcorn stitch on the left side, work a treble crochet, yarn over twice. Insert into the middle position above the DC4 popcorn stitch, approximately where you need it. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. 1, 2, 3. The treble crochet is completed. Work 6 more treble crochets in the same position. Work 2 chains between each 2 stitches. After completing, work 1 single crochet in the middle double crochet. Work 7 treble crochets in each DC4 popcorn stitch. Finish the remaining part. Finish with a slip stitch in the single crochet stitch. Fasten off the yarn. Round 11 is completed. Continue with round 12. Start from the chain space on the right side of any groups of treble crochets in the previous round. Work a puff stitch. Chain 2 as a beginning chain. Work 2 unclosed half double crochets in the same position. Yarn over and draw through the first 4 loops on the hook. Leaving 2 loops remaining, yarn over and draw through in once. A HDC 3 large puff is completed. Chain 2 as a bridge. Work a DC3 bobble in the adjacent space. Continue with 2 chains. Work a DC3 bobble stitch. Five chains. Work 2 DC3 bobble stitches downward, 2 chains between these 2 stitches. After completing, continue with 2 chains. In the adjacent space, work a HDC3 large puff. Begin with 3 unclosed half double crochets. Yarn over and draw through the first 6 loops. Leaving 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and draw through in once. A HDC3 large puff is finished. Repeat this process. Work all the way down to finish this round. When crocheting the next group, no chain bridge is needed. Fasten off after completing. Round 12 is completed. Now work round 13. Begin in the chain space of the corner from the previous round. Chain 2 as a beginning chain. Work 2 half double crochets in this space. Work 1 HDC in the adjacent bobble stitch. Pick up the braid on the upper right and crochet. Work 1 HDC in the chain space. Continue crocheting them all the way down. Work 1 HDC between the 2 HDC3 large puff stitches. Then on the left side, work half double crochet in the HDC3 large puff stitch. Don't miss this stitch. Work 3 half double crochets in the corner chain space. Four chains. 3 half double crochets. When you reach the slip stitch position, insert the hook at the entry position, and work a half double crochet. Fasten off the yarn after completing it. Round 13 is completed. Move on to round 14. Start from the middle of round 8 popcorn stitch. Crochet the small paw. Make a slip knot with the yarn. Place it on the hook. Wrap the yarn 5 times. Hold the loops with your finger to prevent the loops from falling off. Insert the hook into the middle double crochet of the popcorn stitch. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over one after another. Draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat 6 times. Hold the loops while crocheting to prevent them from falling off. One quarter is completed. Then crochet 8 chains. One slip stitch. Insert into the front loop of the quarter and into the strand below on the left side. Weave in the yarn tail along as you crochet. Continue to crochet 11 chains. Make 1 slip stitch in the same position. Don't forget to weave in the yarn along as you crochet. Eight chains. One slip stitch. Make a chain to secure. Cut the yarn. Pull tight. One small claw is completed. Continue and finish the remaining small claws. When crocheting the quarter, don't let the loops fall off. This is the method for round 14. Now crochet round 15. Insert into any chain space from round 13. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Crochet 3 single crochets in the same place. Crochet 7 single crochets in following 7 stitches. Don't miss the stitch next to it. Now we're at the middle 3 half double crochets position. Here we'll do a puff cross stitch. Secure the small claw while crocheting. Place the small claw with the right side facing up. You can take a look. The surface of the column has 5 clear horizontal lines. This side is the right side. Place it in the middle of the 3 half double crochets. Insert the hook from front to back. Between the second and third half double crochets, crochet a HDC2 large puff stitch. After completing, chain 1 as a bridge. Move the hook from the left side of the small claw to the front. Insert into the space between the first and second half double crochets. Crochet another 1. HDC2 large puff stitch. The puff cross stitch is completed. With 1 chain in between. Slightly tighten the yarn tail. Skip the middle 3 stitches. Crochet single crochets in the adjacent half double crochet stitches. While crocheting, weave in the yarn tail. Crochet the corresponding number of single crochets. While crocheting, slightly tighten the yarn tail of the small claw. Adjust the position of the small claw. When you reach the middle 3 half double crochets, secure the small claw. Place the small claw with the right side facing up. Position it in the middle of the 3 half double crochets. Insert the hook from front to back, between the second and third half double crochet. Crochet a HDC 2 large puff stitch. After completing, chain 1 as a bridge. Move the hook from the left side of the claw to the front. Insert between the first and second half double crochet. Crochet another HDC 2 large puff stitch. The puff cross is completed. Adjust the yarn tail. The small claw is also secured. Start working single crochets from the adjacent stitch. Work all the way down to finish the rest. When you reach the beginning chain, work 1 single crochet at the beginning chain. There is also a stitch in the adjacent. Don't miss it. Fasten off the yarn at the end. Round 15 is completed. Move on to round 16. Insert into the middle single crochet of any corner. Make 2 chains as a beginning chain. Crochet another half double crochet in the same position. Crochet 7 double crochets by picking up following stitches. Crochet 7 single crochets next. Continue securing the small claw while crocheting. First insert into the 4th chain on the right side of the small claw. Pick up 2 strands. Then insert into the corresponding stitch behind. Crochet 1 single crochet. Continue with 2 more single crochets. At the crossing point, pick up the braid on the upper right and crochet. Crochet 1 single crochet in the chain space. When crocheting, secure the small claw. First insert into the middle position on the wrong side. Pick up 2 strands. Then insert into the chain space. Crochet 1 single crochet. Continue with 2 more single crochets. There is 1 stitch left. When crocheting, secure the chain on the left side. Insert into the 4th chain. Then insert into the stitch behind and crochet. The small claw is now secured. Crochet the corresponding number of half double crochets. Work 2 half double crochets in the corner. Three chains. 2 half double crochets. Don't miss the adjacent stitch. After completing the half double crochets, when crocheting single crochets, secure the small claw. First insert into the fourth chain on the right side. Then insert into the stitch behind and crochet a single crochet. Crochet 2 single crochets. Then secure the middle position of the claw. Insert into the 2 strands on the wrong side. Then insert into the chain space and crochet. Continue with 2 single crochets. Then insert into the fourth chain on the left side, and crochet a single crochet with the stitch behind. Crochet the remaining part all the way down. Finally, fasten off the yarn. Weave in all the yarn tails along the wrong side. Round 16 is completed. Motif 1 is finished. Complete the remaining motifs in the same way. Next, crochet motif 2. Motif 2 also starts with a chain ring. Crochet counterclockwise and rounds outward. There are more stitches used. The chart has corresponding markings. I won't go through them one by one. Let's get started. The first round also starts with a chain ring. Crochet the corresponding number of half double crochets. I have already crocheted this part in advance. Move on to the second round. Insert into any stitch. Chain 2. Work an unclosed half double crochet in the adjacent stitch. Yarn over once. Insert. Pull through. The unclosed half double crochet is completed. Yarn over and draw through all the loops. 1 HDC2 tog is completed. Chain 2 as a bridge. Crochet 1 HDC3 tog. First, crochet 1 unclosed stitch in the previous stitch. Then crochet 2 more. There are 7 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all the loops. The HDC3 tog is completed. Continue with 2 chains as a bridge. Crochet a HDC2 tog. The first unclosed stitch is crocheted on the entry position of the right side unclosed stitch. The second stitch is crocheted in the adjacent stitch. This is the position of the beginning chain. There are 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all the loops. The HDC2 tog is completed. Alternate crocheting 2 types of stitches together in this round. Work 2 chains as a bridge between these 2 stitches. The first unclosed stitch of each stitch together, and the one from the previous stitch together, are crocheted in the same stitch. Continue crocheting all the way down. The last HDC3 tog, the first unclosed stitch, and the last unclosed stitch are crocheted in the previous entry position. Finish by slip stitch into the stitch. Fasten off the yarn. The second round is completed. Now crochet the third round. Find any HDC3 tog. Insert into the left side, between the 2 unclosed stitches. Draw the loop through. Make 2 chains as a beginning chain. Work 2 half double crochets in the same position. Chain 3 as a bridge. Insert into the left side HDC3 tog, between the 2 unclosed stitches on the right, work 3 half double crochets. Continue with 3 chains. On the left side of this HDC3 tog, between the 2 unclosed stitches, work 3 half double crochets. In this round, work 3 HDCs between the unclosed stitches of the HDC3 tog from the previous round. Between each group of half double crochets, chain 3 as a bridge. Complete the remaining part. Finally, fasten off the yarn. The third round is completed. Next, work round 4. Insert the hook into the wrong side middle position of the corner half double crochet. Pick up 2 strands. Draw the loop through. Chain 4. In the chain on the left side of the round 2 DC2 tog, work a DC4 popcorn stitch. Which means here. You can also weave in the previous yarn tail. While working, wrap the chain from round 3 together. Continue with 4 chains. Pick up 2 wrong side strands of the left side corner half double crochet and slip stitch into them. Continue with 4 chains. Below, work a DC4 popcorn stitch in the chain on the left side of round 2 DC2 tog. Finish the remaining part. Finish with a slip stitch at the starting position. Fasten off the yarn. Round 4 is completed. Next, work round 5. Work single crochets from the chain space on the left side of the popcorn stitch. Work 3 first. One in the slip stitch. Work 3 in the next space. After that, work 5 chains as a bridge. Continue working on the other side. Finish the remaining part. After the final chains are completed, no need for a slip stitch. Round 5 is completed. Move on to round 6. Pick up the single crochets and crochet slip stitches. Mark the first slip stitch. In the chain space, work a HDC2 puff stitch. Work 2 unclosed half double crochets first. Yarn over and draw through once. Chain 2 as a bridge. Then work 1 HDC2 puff stitch. Continue with 2 chains. 1 HDC 2 large puff stitch. Continue with 2 HDC 2 puff stitches. Between these stitches, chain 2 as a bridge. When done, pick up the single crochet stitches from the previous round. Crochet slip stitches. Complete the remaining part. Finally, at the stitch marker position, join with a slip stitch. Leave the stitch marker on. Pull tight. Fasten off the yarn. Round 6 is completed. Next, crochet round 7. Starting from the 2 chain spaces on the left side of the HDC 2 large puff stitch, crochet 3 single crochets each. Then pick up the slip stitch braids from the previous round to work single crochets. Don't miss the stitch at the stitch marker position. Complete the corresponding number of single crochets, then crochet single crochets in the chain spaces. Finish the remaining part. While crocheting, if you notice, at the puff stitch position, there are loose loops. While crocheting the single crochets, also draw it through. Then fasten off the yarn. Weave in the previous yarn tails. Round 7 is completed. Continue with round 8. First, refer to the chart and crochet the corresponding stitches. Insert the hook into the corner space of the third round to crochet the middle double crochet. Skip the corresponding stitch at the back without crocheting. Start crocheting from the adjacent stitch. Complete the remaining part. Fasten off the yarn. Round 8 is completed. Now crochet round 9. Cast on from any chain space. Work 3 chains. One DC2 bobble. Three chains. One slip stitch. Tighten this slip stitch slightly. 2 chains. 1 HDC2 puff. Two chains. 1 slip stitch. Then crochet the corresponding stitch into the back loop of stitches from the previous round. Work a specific number of half double crochets. Don't miss the first stitch position. One double crochet. Then crochet a DC2 tog, first, in the adjacent 2 back loops. Work an unclosed double crochet in each. Yarn over and draw through once. The DC2 tog is completed. Then crochet 1 front post treble crochet, yarn over twice. Insert the hook from the right side of the stitch below. Come out on the left. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. Yarn over one after another, draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. The front post treble crochet is completed. Then work decrease by working into the back loop of the adjacent single crochets. Skip the double crochet stitch. Continue and finish the rest. After completing the half double crochets, in the chain space, work 1 slip stitch first. Then crochet the corresponding stitches. Finally, complete the first corner. After the last slip stitch, crochet 1 chain to secure. Cut the yarn. Round 9 is completed. Move on to round 10. Cast on at the second HDC on the left side of the front post treble crochet. Pick up both strands on the wrong side. Crochet 9 chains. On the wrong side of the DC2 bobble in the corner, picking up 2 strands to work slip stitch 2. Weave in the previous yarn tail as well. Continue to crochet 9 chains. In the second half double crochet on the right side of the FPTR, crochet a slip stitch on the wrong side. When crocheting on the wrong side of the half double crochet, pick up 2 strands like this on the wrong side. Crochet 5 chains. Then insert into the corresponding single crochet behind this double crochet below. Insert from the wrong side. Crochet a slip stitch. Continue to crochet 5 chains. Repeat the previous steps. Finish the remaining part. When inserting into the corresponding SC behind the double crochet, insert from the wrong side. Finally, make a slip stitch at the starting position. No need to tighten. Round 10 is done. Next, crochet round 11. Make 1 chain. Insert and crochet a single crochet in the entry position. Then insert into the adjacent HDC wrong side to crochet. While crocheting, wrap the chain together. Complete the corresponding stitches for these HDCs. Now we're at the corner stitches position. First, insert into this chain space, and crochet 3 DCS. Then insert into the slip stitch entry position on wrong side of the middle bobble stitch. Crochet 3 DCS. Crochet 3 DCS in the next chain space. Then pick up the strands on the wrong side of the HDC to crochet. There is one stitch here on the edge. While crocheting, wrap the chains together. When you reach the position of 5 chains, pick up the upper strand to work slip stitch. In total of 4 stitches. Then skip 3 chains and don't crochet. 1, 2, 3. Start from the left chain and crochet 4 slip stitches. Continue crocheting the rest. Finish by picking up the stitch and slip stitching. Round 11 is completed. Now crochet round 12. Make 1 chain. Pick up the back loops and crochet 2 single crochets. 3 half double crochets. 1 double crochet. Crochet 3 double crochets in the same position. Continue crocheting the rest stitches. At the slip stitch position, pick up the 1 strand of the slip stitch braid. Crochet a slip stitch. Skip the middle 2 stitches. Fasten off the yarn. Round 12 is completed. Continue crocheting round 13. Start from any chain space. Make 4 chains as your beginning chain. Crochet 1 treble crochet in the same position. Pick back loops and crochet the corresponding treble crochets. Then in the adjacent back loop, work a treble crochet, 2 double crochets, continue down with 1 double crochet, 2 half double crochets, 1 SC2 in 1, which means in the same stitch, crochet 2 single crochets. 1, 3. The SC2 in 1 is finished. Continue crocheting the corresponding single crochets. When crocheting at the slip stitch, still leave the middle 2 stitches unworked. Finish crocheting the rest stitches. There is also a stitch at the fasten off position. Don't miss it. After finishing the last treble crochet, work 1 chain. Work 1 half double crochet at the beginning chain position. Round 13 is completed. Finally, crochet round 14, chain 3 as beginning chain. Pick below the large space below, work 1 double crochet. Work 1 double crochet at the beginning chain position. Pick the back loops and crochet the corresponding stitches. When you reach the slip stitch position from the previous round, leave these 4 stitches unworked. Work 1 double crochet on the lower FPTR. Then pick the back loops of the left stitches and crochet. Continue completing the remaining stitches. Weave in the yarn tail following the texture on the wrong side. This is the method for Motif 2. Follow this method. Complete the remaining Motif 2s. Now proceed to join the motifs. The blanket comes in 2 sizes. According to the corresponding layout diagram, position the motifs correctly. We will use the whip stitch method for sewing. There is no specific order for sewing. Use the color from the outer round of Motif 2 for sewing. Each time you take the yarn, make sure not to exceed 1 meter. To avoid difficulty in sewing, match the wrong sides of the corresponding motifs with the right sides facing outward. Start by connecting the corresponding edge. Find the back loop of the middle chain at the corner. Insert the needle and whip stitch. You can sew in extra time to secure it. Continue picking up half loops on the left side chain to join. When you reach the stitch position, pick up the back loop of the stitch, sew it correspondingly. There is also a stitch at the slip stitch position, don't miss it. Weave in the yarn tails as you sew. Here you can insert the needle underneath the strand. The yarn won't curl up. When you reach the corner of Motif 2, sew it to the corner of Motif 1. Sew the edge half double crochet to the single crochet of Motif 2. Then sew this single crochet with the adjacent chain. Sew this single crochet twice. Then sew the middle double crochet of Motif 2 to the corresponding middle chain. Sew the adjacent single crochet with the adjacent chain at the back. Then sew this single crochet to the adjacent half double crochet. The 2 single crochets at the corner of Motif 2, each sew twice. Continue matching and sewing together. Sew all the way to the next corner middle chain position. After sewing, take the next motif. Please place the color scheme suitable. Continue sewing. At the intersection of the 3 motifs on the edge, Sew a few more stitches on the middle chain. Don't leave any gaps. Continue sewing the corresponding edges. When actually sewing, it's okay if there's a slight difference of 1 or 2 stitches, as long as the positions are aligned. Keeping it flat is fine. The method is the same when you encounter the intersection of 4 motifs in the middle. Sew a few more stitches on the chain as well. Don't leave any gaps. The sewing methods are all the same. Refer to the joining diagram. Sew all the motifs together to complete it. That concludes the sewing method for this blanket up to this point. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next tutorial.